What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Talk Punch. I am Brody Hanson, here with Charlie Hickman. And today, we're having a conversation again. We are talking about the Marvel movies and the DC movies, and kind of the strategy that both companies are taking going forward. It's currently the end of September of 2020. 2020 is,
right.
We're getting into Q4. 2020 is going to be done. Thank goodness. 2020 has been horrible.
Quite a year. Quite a year.
And
Would
so
you say it's the DC film equivalent of years?
I'd
Shots
say
fired right away,
it's been the Suicide Squad of years.
I think that's probably a good movie for it.
But as 2021 quickly approaches, we are approaching Q4 of the MCU. Things are moving forward. Things are filming. Things are going to be released. And then we're also moving forward with the DC movies. And we've got a lot of films that are coming out, some this year, some next year. And so we just wanted to have a conversation. Now, Charlie, how familiar are you with the DC movies?
Okay, look, I want to get a couple of things. I want to come clean right off the bat. A couple of things. Am I a little prejudiced or biased against the DC film universe? Perhaps. Did I want the DC movies to be good? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Did I want to be wrong that Justice League would be amazing? Yes, I did. Did I want to be wrong that Batman versus Superman or that the first Suicide Squad would be good films? I did. Was I, though? We'll discuss. But look, I at every turn, I've been hopeful that I want to see good movies, right? Like if I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch a movie, there are people out there, I think, that root for failure. That's not me. I want to enjoy. Look, I love the DC stuff growing up. I was the Super Friends kid. Do I like emo Superman and the gritty Superman? You and I have talked about this. We'll talk maybe more about this, perhaps, but maybe that's another conversation for a different podcast. But I've seen most of the DC stuff. There are some gaps, maybe here or there, that I will own to if we start talking. There are some like smaller DC films that I might have missed. I did unfortunately see the Green Lantern. I'm sure I don't know if we'll talk about that or not, but
I don't think we need to talk about it. That's not that movie, that franchise is, I don't think, part of their strategy. I think the Green Lantern as a character is going to be part of their strategy, but I don't think the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern is part of the strategy.
Yeah, I mean, who could honestly, who could make a good Ryan Reynolds superhero movie? I mean, Deadpool, it's good. I'm teasing. Although, come on, X3 with the Deadpool with the.
Yeah, that was a choice.
Was that or was that Wolverine?
No, it was Wolverine. Wolverine Origins.
Oh, it was so bad. And then the claws in the bathroom scene where they're like the cartoon all of a sudden popped out of his hand.
Yeah, and they just kind of float there.
Yeah.
That was a really bad movie. I'm so glad that the Fox X-Men movies are dead.
Oh.
and that's coming from me as a huge X-Men fan. Boy, oh boy.
Well, that hurts, right?
I am glad those are over.
Oh, but so many bad movies. Mistakes were made, Brody. Mistakes were made.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know how much we're going to get into that, but I mean, there were, Fantastic Four and X-Men are like, they should be flagship franchises, and they have just been so bad. So bad.
Yeah.
I would watch Green Lantern again before I watched like the Wolverine Origins movie.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'll be watching Catwoman.
I haven't seen either Green Lantern or Origins since the theaters. Yeah. So I don't have good memories, and I can't imagine they've held up.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, let's get into it. So, why don't you outline the strategies for us as you see them, and then we can kind of go from there.
All right. So, now obviously, you and I are just fans. We're not
just fans.
We're not involved with movies. We're not involved with anything else. We don't make the movies. It's all just kind of speculation on our part. But from what appears to be happening is Marvel is sticking with the MCU. They've had great success with the MCU. They've made a lot of money with the MCU. And so they're
Brody, real quick, can I interrupt you real quick? Can you
Sure.
explain to maybe someone's watching and they don't know what you mean by the MCU? Probably unlikely that anybody watching this would not know what that is, but just expand on that a little bit. What's
Okay.
the MCU?
All right, so the MCU being the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's their connected universe where all of the movies exist in the same world. And so Captain America can reference Thor, and Thor can reference Iron Man, and they can all show up in the Avengers movies all together, and you can know the backstories from the various movies and so on and so forth. Even the space stuff, Guardians of the Galaxy, exists up in the space of the Avengers movies. And so it's all one universe that they've created. And so they're continuing on with that. So we've got more movies coming out in 2021. I keep hearing that Black Widow is going to get delayed. Was originally, well, it was supposed to come out in May, and then was another date, and then it was, I think, November. Thank you, COVID. And I keep hearing that it could get delayed. I don't know. Nothing's been announced. It'll come out when it comes out, and I'll see it regardless.
Yep.
But going into 2021, we've got Black Widow is probably going to be the next one that we see. We've got the Eternals, which I believe they are filming right now. We've got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which they are filming right now. Mm-hmm. We've got an untitled Spider-Man movie that's supposed to be 2021 that I don't think they're filming yet.
Yeah,
so
maybe
I don't know about
the dates are very tentative.
I don't know about 2021 for that.
Yeah, agreed.
We've got Thor: Love and Thunder for 2022. We've got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in 2022. And those are the theatrical release movies for Phase 4. We have some beyond that. We've got Captain Marvel 2 at some point. We've got Guardians 3 at some point. We've got another Black Panther movie, in whatever direction they want to take with the unfortunate death of Chadwick Boseman.
So sad.
And so they even have stuff that's in the pipeline beyond Phase 4. But all of these are going to be connected. They're all in that same universe. Now, they even have the television stuff that they're putting out onto Disney Plus. They've got WandaVision, which we just got a trailer for. They've got Falcon and Winter Soldier, which they're filming right now. We've got Loki. We've got What If. We've got Hawkeye, Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk. They just announced who She-Hulk was going to be.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name. And so all of those are attached to the MCU as well, which is a little bit different from something like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which they were initially like, it's part of the MCU. And then it did all sorts of stuff that didn't seem to have any impact on the MCU.
or even the Netflix stuff, like the Daredevil and Jessica Jones and all that. It's like loosely affiliated.
Referenced the MCU, but really had
there was
no
the
effect.
Incident, the event, but it didn't.
Yeah, the incident in New York was the Avengers movie. And so we've got all this stuff that's inside this same universe. It's all coexisting. It's all happening, pretty much all in New York, apparently.
So, if you're just on a personal note, if you're ever living in a city and I don't know, say Gotham or New York or whatever,
why would you live in
Gotham? It's entirely full of supervillains and aliens. This is time. It's a time to move. It's time to just pack up, hit the West Coast. You never see any of these superhero movies taking place San Diego. It's beautiful San Diego, sunny, lots of palm trees, ocean. Come on down to Southern California. Spend some time with me, or maybe middle of Reno. Spend a little time with Brody. Much safer than these hotbed of superhero action adventure movies.
Yeah, right. You would think after the first alien invasion, you'd be like, you know what? Maybe we should relocate.
How cheap is how cheap is Gotham real estate? I mean, it's got to be I
don't know,
the cheapest. They pay you to live there at some point. It's
I mean,
no, I'm probably going to die today. I live in Gotham. No big deal.
You work for Wayne Enterprises. They got to pay well, right?
I live just down the street from Arkham Asylum. I got this place dirt cheap. It's a lot of turnover. People just anyway. All right.
True. It's true.
We can talk. Let's talk superhero real estate on an upcoming podcast. We'll get it.
That sounds good. Sounds like the next episode.
All right. So in contrast,
so there's kind of the MCU in the direction they're taking is everything exists in this MCU universe. So then we look at the DC movies, which honestly I didn't enjoy the DCU movies. I was okay on some of them. I liked Man of Steel. I liked Henry Cavill as Superman.
He's good. He's a good actor.
They just announced that he just signed up for some more movies, and I'm happy about that. I like him as Superman.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of Justice League. Boy, that was rough. Batman v Superman, I think, had some like parts that could have been good, but overall,
what did you say?
Just wasn't quite there. I really disliked Suicide Squad. It really made me angry. But with all of that, I'm very excited on the direction that DC is taking. And I think it's really interesting, which is kind of what started this conversation. So DC is saying, okay, we have the DC multiverse. And so everything can exist in this same multiverse, but they're not confined to the same universe. And so where we have the Flash movie, okay, so let's go through the DC movies. Okay, we've got, I clicked on the wrong thing there. Okay, so we've got Wonder Woman 2. I really liked Wonder Woman 1. So we've got Wonder Woman 2 coming up this year. We've got The Suicide Squad, which is like the Guardians of the Galaxy of the DC universe. We've got Black Adam in 2021. We've got The Flash in 2021. We've got Shazam 2 in 2022. Mm-hmm. Aquaman 2 in 2022. And then we have The Batman, which for some reason isn't on this list, in 2021. Why would this list not have The Batman? It's odd.
Because
I'm on Wikipedia. Because I'm on Wikipedia. That's why.
Yeah.
And so DC apparently is looking at this universe as like, we can have other things going on. We can have the Joker movie and not be confined to, well, where does this exist in the Justice League universe? Or we can have the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson and not have to worry about the Batman v Superman with Ben Affleck as Batman. And then we can also, and that's what the Flash movie is doing, is saying, okay, well, the Flash is even going to pull in Michael Keaton as Batman and say, well, it's just part of the multiverse. And so they've opened up all these possibilities for all the stuff that they want to do, but don't necessarily want to be super tied down to this one universe.
Right.
So that's kind of the gist of what I have been reading and what I've been kind of following. And honestly, when I look at the two, I love the Marvel movies. I've seen every single Marvel movie in theaters. We watch them with my kids, they're great. Yeah. But looking at what DC is doing right now versus continuing on with the MCU, I'm a little more excited about the DC movies that are coming up. And I also need to say, granted, I've seen the Wonder Woman trailer. I've seen the Batman trailer. I've seen footage from the Suicide Squad, and I've seen nothing for the Marvel movies. It's not like we've seen a trailer for Shang-Chi or a trailer for the Eternals. And so I'm just going off of kind of the knowledge that I have and stuff like that. But I'm really excited for the Suicide Squad. I'm excited for Wonder Woman 2. I'm really excited for the Batman movie. You know, I'm looking forward to these almost a bit more than what I am that Marvel's putting out.
Can I ask you, and look, we're not, full disclosure, Brody's is basically Batman incarnate. Like you can see, we both have Batman posters behind us in our rooms. We're both big Batman guys, but only one of us has the Batman tattoo all over his body.
All over my body.
All over.
Just a giant tattoo.
Brody's chest hair actually is in the shape of a batarang. I don't know if you want to take your shirt off and show the people, bro, but he didn't shave it that way either. Just
That's
born.
Okay. I don't want to get flagged as being inappropriate.
So look, I know you're a big DC guy, and so whenever DC, whether it was Batman versus Superman or Justice League, I remember having conversations with you, and you were always excited. Before every DC movie that's dropped, there's a conversation I have with you, and you're like, "This is the one, Charlie. This is going to be really great." Maybe not everyone. Maybe I don't remember talking to you about the first Suicide Squad. I don't remember what your first.
I will say that the first trailer where they used the Queen Bohemian Rhapsody was a good trailer.
All right, there it is. All right, so he was in. So look, you've been in on every DC movie, and that's great because you want them so desperately to be good because that's your heart.
I do.
That's great. So
and I also got to say that yes, I'm a big Batman fan, but in terms of universes, I'm a bigger Marvel fan than DC fan.
Sure. So we can start. We can have a few different angles to this conversation, and so, but let's start with like just the past. Let's looking at what's been done, and I think we both agree that so far, the more compelling films and content have been produced within the MCU than the DCU. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And so with that in mind, with the idea that there's people in charge that are kind of guiding and shaping, when you and I talk Star Wars, I think the new movies that came out, the new trilogy, I think one of the biggest problems that you and I agree that it had was it just wasn't like a cohesive direction to it, mm-hmm. right? And you may not like the MCU movies, but you can't, if you do like one, you probably like all of them. Like they're all kind of like, and I can understand why people would be like resistant to that. Like, oh, it's just like cookie cutter. It's like too much of the same. But when you like it and you're in. And I am really like, if I sat my kids down and I said, okay, name me some Marvel superheroes, they could just start rattling off, Avengers and get all the way through it with a list of like 20, 25 different characters. And if I say, okay, now let's go DC. And we go, okay, we got Batman, we got Superman, and then they might completely stall out at that point because we haven't watched like Wonder Woman or Flash together as family. Most
people would say Wonder Woman or Green Lantern.
Sure.
Those are household names.
I agreed, but the DCU thus far has not done a good job, I think, of expanding that universe and giving us new characters and new stories and new content. I've got so much Batman fatigue. Look, I love Batman. Okay. I love Batman, but the fact that just like every 2 or 3 years, there's like a new Batman and a new Joker, and it's just, and I gotta, oh my gosh, his parents were murdered. Oh no, I hadn't heard that story before. Let's tell me again how it happened. Oh my gosh, the poor kid. And then oh Gotham TV show. Oh no, his parents were killed. Oh no. It's just like the same story, the same characters, the same universe over and over again. Look, and then they take Superman and they make him like gritty, like he's like they're trying to make him Batman instead of like that beautiful balance of like light and dark, and Superman against all odds will always, and it's just like they're kind of like melding into this like pot of dark brooding characters. Sure. And they try to gritty up instead of embracing the qualities of the characters that they had. It's like they try to change, and then they went the opposite direction, like MCU's having all the success with like campy humor, why don't we let's make Aquaman, but we'll kind of embrace the try to make it like a Thor movie or something, which is great. Like it's fine. I just, what I would love to see from the DCU is some new characters, for crying out loud. Stop making Batman movies. I don't need to see a new Joker. I don't need I don't need another Joker. I don't need another Batman. Give me some alternative characters. Give me a Hawkman movie, for crying out loud. Yeah, let's see it. Let's get some wings flying. Give me a Martian Manhunter flick. Let's go. Give me something new. Give me something different. Even if it's terrible, at least it's like a. All right, but so from where I'm sitting, past wise, I think the way that MCU has done it is great. I think you're right. Like there's some flexibility and some freedom that DCU has that maybe MCU doesn't have, where they can just kind of tell a story and then pop
Sure.
in, do a one-off, and then they're out.
Yeah.
But I really love like I love that there's movies coming out that like are going to be like, oh, okay, let's go see this. What the heck is this even about? And I will say last thing, but then I'll turn it back over to you. We are getting the multiverse, the madness, multiverse here is coming for Marvel as well, and maybe that will open up some opportunities for them to do some one-offs as well.
I hope so.
I'm excited.
I hope so. I will say that, I think Shazam was one of those characters that people kind of weren't expecting, and that was best one they've done. Movie. Yeah. Just looking at the
You're 100% right.
Justice League was a mess. I liked Wonder Woman a lot.
Wonder Woman was good. It was good.
Birds of Prey. I didn't see Birds of Prey. I
did not see that either.
Honestly, I just didn't have any desire.
Missed it.
Even when good reviews were coming out, I was kind of like, gosh, I don't care.
What was the original title of that?
Harley Quinn and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which is just the worst title that you could possibly give a movie to, even Birds of Prey is not a great movie. Just call it Harley Quinn.
That would have been better.
I don't know. That was an odd
They
choice.
should have consulted you on this. It was an odd choice.
It was an odd choice. I think Suicide Squad, we're going to get some fun characters, with James Gunn bringing stuff in. We're going to get more Harley Quinn, which I think we're going to get a lot of Harley Quinn. She's essentially the DC's Deadpool. We've got Black Adam that I'm really interested in because I liked Shazam. And Shazam kind of touched on Black Adam. And so then we've got The Rock, and me being, a big wrestling fan, I've always loved to see The Rock. So that's, that kind of stuff is exciting. The Flash, we'll see. I don't know. Honestly, I didn't like the Flash in the Justice League movie. I thought he was annoying. Some people liked him and they were like, oh, look, he's silly.
Yeah.
I thought it was annoying when he was zipping around the Batcave and he's, all of a sudden he shows up in the car and he's looking around. I was like, oh gosh, you are so obnoxious. I do not like you, but I'm interested in the movie for what it's going to do. And, hey, if I get a chance to see a Michael Keaton in a bat suit again, 30 years later, holy smokes.
All right. So, that I will definitely watch. Give me some Keaton in a bat suit.
But yeah, and I would love to see a Green Lantern kind of get rebooted and placed into this universe.
Yeah.
And
Green Lantern should be so cool. It should be so cool.
I love Green Lantern. I really like the Green Lantern in the comics. And if we can sort of stay in this Justice League universe, but maybe try to focus the Justice League, honestly, I'm looking forward to this Snyder cut that's going to come out. Do I think it's going to be light years better? Probably not, because I did see Batman versus Superman. Is it going to turn into this amazing movie? Probably not, because again, all of the complaints that we all had about Batman versus Superman was Zack Snyder stuff. Am I still interested? Will I still subscribe to HBO Max to watch it? Yeah, I will. Do I think we move on from Zack Snyder after that? Probably wouldn't be a bad idea, and kind of see who else could kind of guide this ship, because I would love to see the Justice League be able to have some success, and I want to see what Henry Cavill can do as Superman. And I don't think that we're going to see a whole lot more of Ben Affleck as Batman. I think he's kind of here for Justice League, and then he's going to kind of bow out. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they'll kill him in the Snyder Cut or something like that, but we'll see. But yeah, and so you mentioned on the Marvel side, on the Marvel side, you know, the multiverse of madness, and I think that's really interesting, and I'm really interested to see what they do pull into that, and even looking kind of like what we talked about past Phase 4, even where we've got the new Black Panther and we've got the new Captain Marvel, and we've got, you know, the potential of the Fantastic Four and the potential of the X-Men and all that stuff. Yeah. And maybe, you know, it's the star power that I'm a little less interested in for Phase 4. You know, we've lost Evans as Captain America. We've lost Downey's Iron Man. You know, we still have Hemsworth as Thor, but you know, losing Iron Man and Captain America, you know, wound up being one of my favorite characters. And so now not having him, and I'm like, yes, I'm excited for Shang-Chi, but I don't really know anything about him yet.
Yeah, but that's the beauty. Like, we get to, like, that, you know, you and I have talked about, like, when Iron Man was first in development, and you know, it's like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. Like, okay,
interesting choice. That. Okay,
all right, I like that. Okay, you know, and there's like that sense of like, this could be amazing, or this could just be like a total disaster. And you know, Chris Evans, okay, interesting. Okay,
he was just in Human Torch, but okay.
Yeah, okay, just bring it back. It was such a bad movie, but all right, we'll give him another chance. Not his fault. Look, one of the things I liked about the MCU is it wasn't like, so you're giving me a run of Captain America, give me a run of Iron Man, and you're giving me a run of these great actors who really grew into these roles and really just owned them all the way through, because they were fantastic, and you had a chance to really fall in love with the performances they gave, and that's really nice. And the beautiful thing here is that the way they built their universe is, it's not like, oh no, oh man, Robert Downey Jr. is retiring from Iron Man, I guess we better reboot that tomorrow with like we better get a new Iron Man, and we got a new Tony Stark. Then now they have like these kind of like, you know, Phase 3 is going to be, you're right, it's a little bit more lesser known characters, and build it out. Then eventually we get the next Guardians movie, another Thor. But then they have these huge properties. Like, now they'll reboot X-Men and make it great instead of what it became. And Fantastic Four, they have huge flagship properties just sitting there ready to develop. So they don't have to just give us, well, it's been 2 years. What should we do? A new Batman movie. That'll do it. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and, you know, I had the same Spider-Man. Like, I love Spider-Man, and the Garfield Spider-Man stuff came out, and it was like, man, I couldn't get through the second. Like, the first one was like so painful, and I couldn't even make it through all the way to the second one in one sitting. I just had to stop at one, just walk away for a little while. I come back, and it's like, I don't know. It's like a kid sitting there in front of his vegetables eating, like, oh. I'll finish it, but I'm not gonna like it. You know, but now because Spider-Man's woven into that universe, like, it just feels so. And then you could great like one-offs. I know it's not MCU, but like Into the Spider-Verse and things like that. And there's this other wonderful Spider-Man universe that gets to be explored. I don't know. It brings a lot of joy to this old man's heart. And maybe that's what DCU will kind of build into, but with one-offs. I do think like the danger of one-offs is that, like, wow, you know, like, maybe there's people out there that just really love Ben Affleck as Batman. I haven't talked to them a lot personally, but maybe there's this fun, you know, and they're like, oh, that's my Batman. But then a couple of, you know, years later, now it's like, oh, well, Robert Pattinson's my Batman. And then a couple of years later, it'll be like, oh, well, Channing Tatum's my Batman. Or I don't know anybody. You know, Tom Cruise is my Batman. There you go. He's bringing the multiverse, man. They're gonna have old Batman. Why not?
Yeah, they could.
Michael Keaton come back and do a whole trilogy.
And I think that bringing in or including the Sony Spider-Verse is interesting, because some of those are kind of loosely connected to the MCU. You know, in my list, I did mention the Spider-Man 3. You know, we also have Morbius that we've already seen a trailer for. So I'm guessing I don't. I'm assuming that's a 2021 release.
Are you not? You're excited for that, right? Come on, tell me you're excited for Morbius. Come on.
I'm interested.
Oh, this guy.
Am I excited? I don't know. Do you know how? Okay, of all the comic books that I read, do you know how many Morbius comic books I read? Like 0. The most exposure I had to Morbius was the Spider-Man the animated series from
which was great,
the early 90s, which was
what
great.
What else do you need?
But like I wasn't reading
need more
Morbius.
than that.
I wasn't reading Morbius.
You don't have to read.
I'm interested. Hey,
Okay.
I also it's Jared Leto. I hope he does good.
That's fair.
I really did like his Joker.
That's
though.
fair.
And so,
but is that his fault, or is that the script's fault, or is it director, script, or actor? It's hard to separate.
I'm gonna split the blame on the Joker. Yes, David Ayer is certainly is partial to blame on that, but Jared Leto
partial.
He made some choices with the Joker that I was kind of like,
well,
I don't know.
A good director would say, "Hey, we're not making that choice. We're gonna go a different direction here."
It's true. It's true.
And what actor in that movie would you have said the movie was bad, but man, they were a great Joker?
What in Suicide Squad?
Yeah. Instead of Jared Leto, pick an actor and put him in that movie. Just drop him in.
Oh, I don't.
And who are you going like? Well, they really saved the movie with that performance because that was a really well written film, and they were really at risk of one actor having a rogue performance and really ruining everything. I mean, it was bad.
It was just a bad movie all around.
And no offense, I know that a lot of you that are watching this probably had a hand in making that film. And look, there's a lot of things that can go wrong on set, and we know this because, as Brody said in the beginning, we both work for movie studios, and so
yes.
Look, a lot can go wrong, a lot can happen, and some of it was probably out of your hands. So don't feel bad that we didn't like the film. Not every movie is for everyone, and we should really state that off the bat. These are just our opinions.
Yeah,
it's no big deal.
I enjoyed Captain Boomerang.
Did you?
I think.
Did you though?
I think I did. No, I think I did.
Did you though?
There was a scene where Deadshot was shooting a bunch of people on top of a cop car.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That was a cool scene. That's the only thing I enjoyed in the whole movie.
I liked it when they,
and the rest of it just made me very angry. So we could move on.
There's no need. We could do a whole bonus episode of us just talking about Suicide Squad. It could have been so good, and hopefully the James Gunn one is. I wanted to like that one. You're right. That trailer with the Queen was like, I was excited for that. I saw that in the theaters, and then it was just like,
you're like, hey, that looks cool. And then
I haven't walked out of a movie in a long time, but stayed to the end and saw the undulating spirit lady.
So anyway, back to the Sony verse.
Yeah,
that started all this. So we've got Morbius coming out. We've got Venom 2. Honestly, I haven't seen Venom 1. I want to. I don't know where to watch it. I don't know what it's streaming on. I missed it in theaters. I don't know why.
That's a good question.
I think it might be on Stars. I don't have Stars though.
Well, you could always, buy a DVD, old man. Just go to the store.
Goodness, I'm not spending
to the shelf.
$25 on a DVD.
$25? That's not how they. Come on, man.
Hey, I bought Sonic the Hedgehog for my kid, for one of my kids for their birthday, and that thing was like $20. It was expensive.
I liked the Sonic movie.
I loved the Sonic movie. Hey, I loved it. Good. It was a great movie. Actually made me laugh out loud multiple times. Aww. I wasn't expecting that to be a good movie. Let's bring Sonic the Hedgehog into the MCU.
I was just going to say, okay, if you had to put Sonic in, would it be MCU or would it be DCU? Where does he fit?
Because he jumps around from the different worlds, I almost
Maybe
say
both?
DC. Oh, he could
Okay.
go
Oh, I
between
see.
both.
I think
I
DC
mean,
right here
they
because him and
did.
Flash could be like racing. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Although
Um,
for everything that the MCU has done, they have not established an iconic speedster in their films yet.
hey,
I'm
we
not
got
counting Quicksilver
Quicksilver
and
in
his.
Age of Ultron.
No, I'm not counting Quicksilver and his quick little death and
He was so
his brief
fast he couldn't
appearance.
outrun the bullets.
That's too fast for bullets. Bullets, my only weakness.
That was an MCU decision that I was kind of like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there was. We can pick apart Age of Ultron. And like you can pick apart anything if you really want to. But some movies make it pretty easy, and there were definitely some Age of Ultron. There's some questionable moments, but
okay.
Hey, the worst. Okay, go ahead, and then I'll do my thing.
Well,
later.
I was gonna move on. So do you have something to build on top of that, or?
I was gonna. Look. What do you think the worst DC or MCU movie? Would you say that was Thor 2, or do you have a different vote?
Probably Thor 2. Yeah.
Okay. If you were ranking the DCU movies to date that have existed, where would you slot Thor 2 in terms of like quality? I'm putting you on the spot here. So you're ranking your DCU movies from worst to best, and you're going to slot Thor 2
oh my gosh,
into like
Charlie. What are
into
you
the
doing
ranks.
to me? Why are you doing this to me?
I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so we've got Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey. I haven't seen Birds of Prey, so I'm not going to count that.
Not going to count. And we're not counting the older ones like the first. Are we counting the first Suicide Squad?
Yes. It's part of the DCU. It's part of the DCU. Starting from
but Green Lantern doesn't count.
No. Starting from Man of Steel in 2013. That was the start of the DCU.
Boom.
Okay. Number 1. Wonder Woman. Number 2. Shazam. Number 3. Man of Steel. Number 4. Aquaman. I'm just going to list my DC ones first, and then I'll figure out where I can put Thor. So number 4 was Aquaman. Number 5, Batman v Superman. Number 6, Justice League. Number 7, Suicide Squad. Where does Thor: The Dark World rank in that? Thor: The Dark World. Thor: The Dark World. I would rank.
We're all waiting.
Between.
Antissa.
I'm gonna say between Aquaman and Batman v Superman.
Okay.
So I liked Aquaman more than I liked Thor: The Dark World, but I think I liked Thor: The Dark World more than I liked Batman v Superman. So that would put it at my number 5. Oh gosh! Don't do that to me without letting me know before we film this, Charlie. You're going to ask me to rank something on the fly. I'm going to be held to. I want you to be on the internet.
Now I want you to take all of the Marvel Comic Universe MCU, rank them all the way through from 1 all the way to like 23 or whatever, and I want you to slot Wonder Woman in.
Oh gosh,
I'm just joking.
Don't do this to me. Where would I'm actually kind of curious. Can I get I need an overall list. Kill time by talk something, Charlie, while I find a list of. Oh wait, here it is. Right here. No, okay. Talk. I'm gonna think for just a minute.
Okay, think for a minute. One of the points that I'm trying to illustrate to Brody is that thus far, even the very worst of the MCU, and there's been a lot more MCU films. Brody, what's our total in MCU films? Is it 22?
23, I want to say.
23? Okay. 23 films versus the 7 that Brody just ranked are 8. And the worst one still ranks its flagship properties of Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, as well as the Suicide Squad, all of which were supposed to be big franchises. I think we can agree that thus far the DCU has been falling behind in terms of quality.
Now,
But,
Charlie, you and
yes, sir.
I already ranked our MCU movies. Well,
Top
we
10, though.
ranked our top 10.
Top 10. And if you're telling me Wonder Woman would crack your top 10, I think maybe that you and I would disagree on the ranking process there. I'm guessing that maybe it's outside your top 10 would be my guess.
I am looking at my top 10, and you can go check out that previous video.
You should. Links below. Maybe.
Now I got to do links, Charlie. Doggone you. My number 10 was Black Panther, and I would say that Wonder Woman falls below that. So, yes, it is. Wonder Woman would not fall into my top 10 MCU movies.
Yeah. So look, and this isn't like some big gotcha moment. I think that most people agree, and you kind of know what you're getting in the MCU, and there's been some, I think, real highs and some lows. But like we can talk all you want about like the upcoming like film projects. I am so excited for WandaVision. I think that's going to be really good. And I'm really a lot more, if I'm being honest, a lot more excited for the TV content that's going to be coming to Disney Plus in this particular Marvel phase than I am about the movie stuff that's coming out. I think I'm really excited to see it. I loved Daredevil. I really enjoyed that. And great. I wish that would have been more apart. It felt like weird to have like the divide of like those shows. The other Netflix ones, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, they're okay.
I liked season 1 of Jessica Jones. Boy, season 2 was rough to get through though.
A little rough, yeah. Yeah, look, I thought all the performances were good. I liked the actors. Maybe some of the pacing, I think, slowed down. Maybe they would have benefited from shorter seasons, or we could talk about that another time. Sure. Punisher was interesting. I really like the casting. I thought it was good.
Punisher. Oh,
it's good, real good. But
I saw the first episode.
But I think the way that storytelling is done these days, I'm a lot more excited for the ability to stretch out a story and tell it over a series of episodes than trying to like fit a universe into 2 hours. And sure. One of the things I liked about the MCU is it kind of was like a TV show of movies, if that makes sense. Okay. So 23 episodes, but they're just all were movies, and you kind of like each
2.5 hour episodes.
Yeah, like it's not a perfect analogy, but stay with me here. You watch whether it was something like Mandalorian or or whatever, if you watch Watchmen, HBO, like some of these just like there's just a lot of really interesting storytelling being done on television now, and a part of that reason is you can just take your time and stretch it. Like one of the big knocks on the MCU, especially in the beginning, was the underdevelopment of the villain. But it's really hard to like develop Iron Man compellingly in a 2-hour movie and also compellingly develop a villain all at the same time. Like there's just not a lot of time. I think Black Panther may have done it better than any of the other films.
Sure.
It's just hard to do in one brief, all of a sudden here's your villain and here's your hero and let's equally spend time building them up for 2 hours. It's really difficult, but stretched out over a season. I think that's one of the things that Jessica Jones season 1, I really thought like the villain hero stuff was really compelling. I thought it was interesting.
Kilgrave. I loved Kilgrave.
Good stuff. Right. So I just like the ability. No, that doesn't guarantee that the storytelling will be done good. I liked some of the honest opinion. I know we're a little sidetracked here. The WB, like the Flash, Supergirl. Where do you come in on all those? You watch those or
okay? So I'm glad that you brought up the TV, because that was going to be my next point. Was the TVs tying into all of this, and yes, good. the Disney Plus TV shows are going to be a part of this universe. Even the what ifs are going to be kind of focused on.
What ifs are going to be fun.
They're gonna be so good.
It's gonna be so fun. See, come
even
on.
the what ifs
You're
are
excited.
focused on MCU decisions. WB has sort of, I guess it's not WB, the CW shows.
Yeah, I guess yes. It's just changed now. Sorry.
Or the DCW, some people call them.
The DCW
have been separate, but then just a season or two ago, they did have a cameo from Ezra Miller as the Flash, and so they have kind of confirmed that the DC shows are just a part of the multiverse. They do exist within this grander DC multiverse. Now, as far as what I watched, I got into Arrow. I got probably like 5 seasons through Arrow and probably 3 seasons of Flash, and like 1 season of Supergirl. And I think wherever like that season where all of those ended at the same time, we were watching a whole bunch, and then at some point like the seasons ended and we were kind of like, I don't know, I guess we're just done with all of them. And there just wasn't like a whole lot of draw to come back. I tried to get into the Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? No, is that what it's called? Yes. Right?
Yeah.
I tried to get into that. I think I may have gotten through season 1. Actually, I think I did get through season 1, and I think I got through the first episode of season 2, and I was like, gosh, I just don't care. Like, I'm just, and maybe that was just a fatigue on my part where I was watching so many of these DC shows. I never even tried to get into Black Lightning. I didn't get into, isn't there another one? I'm missing one. Oh, Batwoman. I never even tried. Supergirl, I made it through season 1. And it was fine. And that's kind of where we left off, was like, these are all fine. But ultimately, we just don't watch a whole lot of TV. And when time is limited and I'm falling asleep during episodes anyways, it was kind of like, I think we're just done with all of these. I think it's really interesting that they did tie these into the the DCU with that little cameo. I think that one little cameo kind of makes the whole thing a bit more interesting, because it's like, oh man, like what if they, it is like just in a multiverse, and so that's really interesting to me. But am I more interested in the Marvel shows? And I think yes, I am, because I'm interested. I think WandaVision, watching the latest trailer that just came out, I'm super interested in that, because I'm really curious to see what kind of repercussions that show has on the MCU. And I think that's one of the benefits of having the MCU singular universe, is that what you do in a TV show is going to affect how a movie happens, which is
it's cool.
That's kind of crazy,
Yeah.
And Falcon Winter Soldier is going to be interesting. Loki's going to be interesting, and there's all this stuff. Hawkeye, I know you're not a big Hawkeye fan, and I don't know.
I love Hawkeye, the comic character. Just not so much from the event.
I've heard it's going to be Kate Bishop. I don't even know if it's going to be Renner. So we'll see.
Oh.
Moon Knight. Hey, we're going to have a Moon Knight show.
We are.
That's really interesting to me. I mean, that is a left field, it's almost like when they announced a Doctor Strange movie, and you're like, a Doctor Strange movie? Like, okay.
It's so good.
That's an interesting choice, but Moon Knight, hey, I don't know. I'm really interested. And then She-Hulk. She-Hulk is another one that I'm like, I don't understand why they chose to do a She-Hulk show. but I'll watch it.
It'll be good, bro.
It will.
It's gonna be good.
It will. And so having those inside this universe is a very interesting thing.
It is. I like it. Look, I'm with you. So maybe one of these. I know we talked last time about kind of the movie theater experience versus the at home experience. I do also think that within television specifically, that there are shows that are built to stream and just to like binge watch, and it's like ep to ep to ep, and it just feels good. And then there are shows, and I'm trying to watch Flash on Netflix, and you just like the characters just keep making dumb choices and having these like long drawn conflicts out like over like just miscommunications, and it just gets so fatiguing to like try to watch a bunch of these episodes in a row.
Sure.
Where I'm like, maybe if I just watched one a week and then was like, okay, we'll leave this, let it sit. I'm trying to watch Arrow, trying to catch up on Arrow, and it's like he's been missing for like 5 years or however long he was gone, and he's been tortured, and everyone thought he was dead, and he comes back and everyone's just like complaining at him like, you weren't here for me, and he's like scars from being tortured, and he's like, I'm sorry, it's my fault, it's like, oh god, this is so fatiguing. Like just get to the superheroing and like let's not wallow in like the angst.
Now I didn't realize that you had watched any of those. How far, what has been your progress in watching the CW shows?
I did not make it out. I watched maybe season 1 of Arrow, and it was just so tiring, and I kept having to turn it off. I know that like I'm out of the demographic that I think that show is supposed to appeal to. I don't know. I don't have access to that kind of information at my current occupation. But I'm guessing that maybe like a lot of the angsty storylines are more directed at the Utes.
Okay.
But maybe not. I don't know. You tell us in the comments below. Maybe you're a Ute. Do you like the angsty? Do you know what the reference Ute is from? Perhaps. But that's a good movie. That should have been on my list of honorable mentions in the top 10. I like my cousin Vinny. But anyway, I watched a lot of The Flash, actually. That was my favorite of the DCW TV shows. I watched maybe 6 seasons of them.
Okay.
How many seasons are there?
I don't know. We stopped when he went into the Speed Force.
Okay, I think I made it one season past that. Part of that's just because I love me some Tom Cavanaugh, and I thought he was like the best part of that show. But it's like sometimes they would go out of their way to make characters less likable, which seemed like an odd choice. Just to create some conflict in the show, like let's have this character make this really terrible choice, and then they would just raise the stakes so dramatically, and then they'd have these crossover episodes. So they hang out and like, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the whole world's gonna end. Should we call Supergirl, who has like infinite amounts of powers, to come and just stop this like in an instant? No, let's do it ourselves and almost let the whole world die. And then we pulled it out. That one of the things I think that didn't work well in the TV shows is when they do those crossover episodes, because it reminded you that they had access to all these other, like, what is the Green Arrow even doing? Like, he shows up and he's like, I shoot arrows. And he's like hanging out with like Supergirl and Flash and like, these time travelers show up. And then he's like, no, they're gadgety. They're really cool arrows, and it's just, and like, I know that's like Batman and the Super Friends, where he's like, no. I've got a really big brain and a lot of money.
He was the Batman of that universe. He was. And
that's why Batman works better. Like, I think like when you don't think about it too much, and he's just a crazy guy in a bat suit running around fighting crime. And look, this maybe side note. I love Batman. Love him. So I know this people are gonna think that I hate Batman here. And I if you can't tease what you love, then maybe you don't love it as much as you think you do. You tease what you love. But anyway, I got Flash fatigue, and I'm out. I can't anymore.
And that's about where we were. And I think honestly, and maybe this could be a future topic we can talk about, but I think part of that was those were long seasons. Those were like 22 episodes or something like that.
Yeah.
Where I think the Marvel stuff, we're looking at probably 8 episodes or so.
It's going to be much cleaner storytelling. Because look, a lot of even like in the Netflix Marvel shows, like sometimes there was just episodes where you'd watch an entire hour's worth of ep, and you're like, did that add anything to like the story? It's kind of like,
It's like all of Jessica Jones season 2.
Aw.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Come on,
wasn't
Charlie.
that bad.
Did you watch it? Did you watch season 2?
I did.
Her mom?
I watched all of that.
Her
Yeah.
mom? Gosh, I've never wanted a character to die so bad. Just why
Oh,
is
you're
her
so
mom
mean.
there? Just die. Golly.
What- All right. You heard it here. Brody hates moms out there. Just for the record, mom hater.
The worst.
This
The
guy.
worst.
I,
Hey, I liked
look,
season
it wasn't
1
my
a
fa-
lot. I didn't like her mom. I wanted her mom to.
all right.
beat it.
Like, I think you like one of the common themes that whenever you see it in a movie or TV show, just picture me and know that it drives me crazy, is when they center the conflict around just two characters not having a conversation. Like the entire movie of Batman v Superman, where it's just like the whole premise is that these two adult males can't have one simple conversation and talk it out. And so we have to have this whole like world-threatening fight between the two of them because we're men and we can't talk unless our mothers are both named Martha for some reason. It just drives me nuts. And so that is like a storytelling vehicle in movies, and it's not just like comic movies. This happens in all sorts of. The whole TV show Three's Company was based off of misunderstanding, but at least that was in a funny way. It drives me a bit nuts. It does. It's a little bit frustrating.
So looking at kind of the next phases. Okay, so we've got
so back to Marvel DCU. Yes.
looking at we've got Marvel Phase 4 kind of going through 2022. And then we've got DC kind of expanding on their multiverse.
Sure.
Which one are you more looking forward to?
Look, and I'm just being honest. I'm more looking forward to the MCU stuff simply because I'm more confident that it will be good. And there's a point in my life where
a valid point.
Where Pixar would be coming out with a new movie, and I'm like, no, this is the one. This is trash. And then and you watch it, and you're like, oh, it's so good. And then the next one, a movie about cars. This is gonna be dumb. And you watch, it's good, it's cute. I did not see Cars 2 or 3, so I can't really comment on those. But
Yeah,
Inside
and then
Out
they come out with Cars
wrecked
2.
me.
Hey,
Wrecked me.
I will say, Cars 3, best of the trilogy.
Okay, I need to see that. I haven't seen 2 or 3.
It was really good.
But at
And
some
I
point,
didn't
I'm
like
just like,
Cars 2, but I really like Cars 3.
all right.
Beside
That's
the
fair.
point. That's a whole
But
other
at some point, like it's not like, look, I didn't care for Thor 2. There are definitely movies in the MCU that I think are weaker than others.
Sure.
And that's fine. Like I don't have blinders on. I'm not like, because Marvel did it, it's great, and because DC did it, it's got to be terrible. But just based on what's been done so far, like DC, Wonder Woman, Shazam, like there's good DCU movies.
Yeah.
I want to see more of that. I want to see them build on that and actually be able to. And part of what worries me is if they are kind of more standalone-y, like then there's no like. So it's like, oh great, then I'll enjoy all the Wonder Womans and I'll hate all the Flash movies, and I will, I'll enjoy the Shazam movies, but I won't like the new Batman movie, but maybe I'll like the next Batman movie they make in the year 2023 or 2024 or 2025, because they'll come out with 3 new Batmans. There have been more actors to play Batman in my lifetime than there have been actors to play James Bond. And I'm going to say that every time we talk about Batman. Okay, I'm pulling up because I don't have my James Bonds memorized off of the top of my head. But start naming Batman, including television and movies.
Oh gosh. Oh jeez, I just.
And we'll go all.
Microphone.
You want to go?
Okay.
Let's go all time. Just we'll go all time.
All time. No, I'm not including like the 40s stuff. I don't know that.
No. We'll starting with Adam West. How about that?
Okay. Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson.
Let's count. What's the kid from Gotham's name?
I don't know. The kid from Gotham.
Kid.
I think they had a Batman in Titans.
Okay.
I don't think they've done any Batman in the Arrowverse. So I'm gonna say 9. I'm gonna say 9.
Okay, let's say so at least 9. Okay, Sean Connery, David Niven, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig.
It's only 2 different.
So, but James Bond is a character that's supposed to be constantly replicated. And we're talking about since 1962 to 2020, there have been 7.
Oh,
and
well,
because they
what, for 19...
so cut out Adam West, and we're talking, and so then we're down to 8 since 1988.
89.
89, excuse me. I always like to test
Always
you on
do
that.
that.
Since 89. So I'm like, come on. I mean, that's since 89 to now. And you know, in the next 10 years, we're adding at least 2 to 3 more Batman, and maybe 1 new James Bond, maybe 1.
I would say, yeah, by the time we get to 2030, I wouldn't be surprised if we get 2 new Batmans.
I'm fatigued, bro. And how many different Jokers have there been? I mean, I'm fatigued.
Yeah,
It's too many.
There's too many Jokers. I agree there. The Batman, honestly, I'm always excited about the Batmans though. I'm always looking forward to. I know. I'm just
pull up your shirt. Show your Batman chest hair. Come on.
No, I don't want to get flagged for.
All right. Well, then don't show all your tattoos. So some of them are a little more risque.
I've already shown the tattoos. If you want to see my Batman tattoo, go watch another episode. It's shown someplace.
Okay. The Batcave has been. Anyway,
am I missing a Batman? Why did I just got like a flash that I'm missing a Batman?
You probably are missing at least 1 or 2. There's probably been 15 Batman. Look, okay, 15. Tell us in the comments below.
Yeah,
if we're forgetting a Batman.
What Batman are we missing? What Batman are we missing?
Because I can tell you what we're not missing though, and that's a James Bond. So the number of Batman actors may grow, but we won't be getting any more James Bond until they announce a new James Bond. So I
just read a rumor that Tom Hardy could be the new James Bond.
No, get him out of here. That's so boring.
You don't like Tom Hardy?
Choice.
What's wrong with Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy's fine. He's harmless. He's fine. Just make it more interesting. Give me an interesting James Bond.
What does that mean? What's wrong with Tom Hardy?
Name some other actors, and I'll tell you if I find them compelling in that role. So, where'd it go about now? It's me, dude.
Yes, he's going to make that same voice, for James Bond.
Will. It's me, James Bond. I'm ready to fight, Batman.
Oh, it was practically a Sean Connery voice anyways. Whatever.
I'm waiting to be impressed. Yes, money penny.
We'll leave this for our James Bond episode when we talk about James Bond.
Oh, we got to have a James Bond because you know what? They could do some really interesting things with a new James Bond direction, I think. Pierce Brosnan, by the way, should have been James Bond since like the 80s.
He was
controversial opinion. He was the best Bond. And watch Remington Steele, young kids, but just not the final season that got ruined by him almost becoming James Bond. Man, we lost out on 2 great things. A great ending to Remington Steele and Pierce Brosnan as James Bond sooner.
Okay, I have something to talk about in our post show. And that's the James the Remington Steele theme song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it because it's the same as the He-Man?
Yeah. I'll tell you the constant bickering that me and my wife have about that.
Henry Mancini. That's good stuff, man.
Oh. Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode. For the just the discussion. I really like these conversations.
They're fun. And there's no right or wrong answer. Yeah.
I enjoy the structured stuff. I enjoy the top 10s, and we've got more stuff planned. But having an open conversation about something like this is fun too.
Look, we're still in Q1 of the podcast, so we're more establishing characters here. We're building storylines out. And
this
right
is like
now, would you say
Iron Man and Captain America: The First Avenger?
Yeah, this is if you enjoyed Iron Man, you're gonna love this podcast because this is basically the same thing.
And sometimes it gets as awkward as Thor 1.
Oh, don't do that to the people. There were some awkward moments in Thor 1.
There was. Bleached eyebrows.
I'm excited for the new Thor. The bleached eyebrows. Should we bleach our eyebrows? Okay, next if the next 4 DCU movies are better than the next 4 MCU movies, I will bleach my eyebrows for an episode.
Better?
If the next 4 better. Objectively better.
According to who?
According to us. We're men of integrity. If the next 4 MCU movies are better than the next 4 DCU movies, then you bleach your eyebrows for an episode.
Well, what do you mean one episode? You can't bleach your eyebrows and then unbleach them. You know that better than most, Charlie. We can tell that story someday.
All right. Well, we'll come up with a bet. We'll come up with a bet. And if you're thinking I won't make that bet because I don't think the DCU movies are going to be better than the MCU movies, then you're a coward. And everything you said so far in this episode can be disregarded as such. Stand by your Batman. Well, anyway, if you enjoyed this even moderately, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. So that way you're always informed when we do more of these episodes. Got a lot more exciting and fun content coming your way, I think, and some bonus episodes that will be out as well pretty soon. So, and then leave us some comments below. Let us know if you are also suffering a little bit from Batman fatigue, or if you think I'm crazy and you cannot get enough of the rotating chair of Batman. Let us know your thoughts about DCU, MCU, and everything in between. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, thumbs up, hit the notification bell, all the stuff that you do that's going to help us to beat the algorithm.
Beat the algorithm.
The more YouTube likes us, the more we can do these. So
yeah, like them, unlike them, like them, unlike them, like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, I am Brody Hanson.
I am Charlie Hickman.
Charlie Hickman. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.